Thank you very much, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, yesterday, indeed, my worst fears were confirmed. Listening to the Minister of Finance and perusing the documents submitted to us, indeed, I would encourage members that the budget statement presented here doesn't give you the full picture. You ought to go and look at the detailed budget statement which has the appendices, because the appendices that speaks to the figures. There's been a claim that we are in this mess, we are in this quagmire, we are in these unprecedented difficult times because of a so-called COVID-Ukraine war. Mr. Speaker, I just want to provide some data, and my cutoff point is 2019, so that we know whether indeed we're on the right path or on the wrong path before COVID. Mr. Speaker, before we left office, in 2016, the depreciation of the cedi was around 7%. In 2019, the cedi depreciated by about 13%. Hey, this is a fact. It's in the budget.
95%.
Debt to GDP ratio was about 56%. By 2019, it had ballooned to 63%. The deficit had increased. That's the overall deficit, to 7%. Credit to private sector had reduced to about 4%. The construction sector was in the negative. Gross fixed capital formation, and that is the basic issue when it comes to economic development. If you don't increase the capital base of your economy and you spend so much on goods and services, you are going to witness a downturn when you face headwinds. We spent double what this government spent during President Mohammed's time on infrastructure. Eurobond alone, you borrowed about 4 times what President Mohammed borrowed. And so to come and tell us that we are in this quagmire because of a so-called Ukraine-Russia war, the facts does not speak to that. And these are facts. Look, these are not opinions. I'm giving you factual information from the budget, from the Bank of Ghana, and from the IMF documents. And instead of you to learn from your mistake, you're too proud, listen to us and pick up, you are still on this tangent of Russia, Ukraine, COVID, Russia, Ukraine, COVID. If you don't appreciate the problem, you can never find a solution. You are too proud to listen. Look, Mr. Speaker, from where we are going, I will not be surprised if during the main budget we move away, or inclusive of COVID and Russia, Ukraine, they add Niger. The conflict in Niger is also contributing to the problems of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, because of these bad policies of your government, the Korean government says that they no longer would advance the $1 billion facility to us. Mr. Speaker, I'm not surprised that a majority leader is running away. What the MPP fear in this world is facts. When they are faced with facts, incontrovertible evidence, they disappear. Habib is also running away. I'm not surprised at all. Mr. Speaker, and instead of this man, our finance minister, to eat the humble pie and take our suggestions, he came here. I remember he's telling us that he has turned the corner. What corner have you turned? He doesn't even know where the corner is. Mr. Speaker, what corner have you turned? Let me give you some evidence as well. And when you are doing comparison, and I'm happy some of my colleagues are here, you do industry standard comparison. You compare yourself with your peers. So I've taken Sub-Saharan Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa, for the year 2023, the average growth rate will be 3.6%. Do you know what Ghana projects to do? Ghana projects that our growth rate will be 1.5%.
40%.
Because we got inflation. And inflation is a key indicator. Because what inflation does is that it eats your purchasing power. So if the rate of inflation keeps going high, it means that receiving the same amount, you can no longer buy what you do. And so you can see school children here. If you give them 1 CD to go to school every day, and the rate of inflation year on year is 30%, it means that whatever they were buying, and school children, we are teaching you economics in this chamber. That is what we are doing. Yeah. This is what I call economics made easy. Your 1 CD, if you used to buy Fan Yogo 1, next time you go, the owner of the Fan Yogo will check 30% of it, cut it off, and give you just about half. That is what you can consume. And that is what the current finance minister, Mr. Ken Oforiata, and the head of the economic management team, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, who no longer speaks economics, have done to you ordinary students and ordinary mothers of this country. The inflation for sub-Saharan Africa is 14%. You know what Ghana is projecting? Ghana is projecting 30%. Wow. More than double what the inflation of sub-Saharan Africa is. And yet the man comes to stand here and he says that he has done what? He doesn't know where the anyway, when a driver Banza turns the corner, certainly he will turn that corner into an accident. And from where this finance minister is heading, Mr. Sugar, I am certain that even as we pray against the inevitable, the man will eventually land us in the inevitable. Mr. Sugar, our current account is the most important thing you look at when it comes to the balance of payment. He was quoting some positive balance of payment. Your balance of payment simply is a trade between your Ghana and other countries. And the balance of payment has 2 main components, the current account and the capital account. In the current account has to do with trades in goods and services, but more importantly, embedded in the current account is your interest component. Embedded in the capital account has to do with the loans that we take, which is amortization. For some strange reason, unprecedented, even a champion's time, we didn't witness this. The current government has decided that they won't pay the interest, they won't pay the amortization. And when you do that, and you see a positive primary balance, you rush and come and tell us that you've done well. You've done well by refusing to service your debt obligation. Of course. Mr. Speaker, this is most unfortunate. Today, at our current debt of 575 billion, and with a population of about 29 million, every single Ghanaian owns a minimum of 20,000 CD debt. Every single Ghanaian, even the school children. Today, a 1-year-old bald baby owns 20,000 CD. Mr. Speaker, now listen to the Minister of Finance's own projections. He wanted to grow 2.8. He says he will end at 1.5. Non-oil GDP, he wanted 3%. He says he will end at 1.5. Inflation, his target was 18. He will end at 31%. Primary balance, he wanted a positive primary balance of 0.5. He will end with a negative primary balance of 0.7. Gross reserves, and I wish the deputy minister was here. She's here. Madam, we are talking of gross reserves. We are not talking of net reserves. And in your document, you stated gross reserves. And the gross reserves include the petroleum funds. So if you strip this gross to net, it means that Ghana is virtually bankrupt. So please look at the documents well. Let me quickly deal with this issue of Bank of Ghana. Mr. Speaker, when we were leaving office in 2016, under His Excellency, next President, John Dramani Mahama. In 2016, petroleum revenues that accrued to President Mahama was $247 million. In 2022, President Akufo-Addo got $1.4 billion. So let's compare the two of them, their track record. When you take the 2016 Bank of Ghana annual report, we made a profit of 709 million Ghana cedi, almost 1 billion. With this oil If you take President Akufo into